Hello everyone.
Hello.
My topic is about losing the love of a parent or mother, dad, sister, brother. The lack of emotional security of our American young people is due to, I believe, is isolation from large families, meaning mother, father, not having them around, or sister, brother. As I often said, there's not enough pride in most parents as far as dads. Growing up losing my dad, in my perspective, my dad only came around certain times. When he was told, or when he wanted me, or either when my mom said yes, no, maybe, and so on. Even in my heart today, years later, I am still damaged due to an incident. Although we're lied to as children on why our fathers left, why our mothers left, sister, brothers, and cousins, and so on. I accepted my dad for who he was. At least I can say that. As I grew up at the age of 21, I asked my dad several questions and asked him, what happened between you and my mom? And he said, well, your mom and I always had our little ups and downs as normal families do. And when it got to points where I asked him what happened, with me, why did you come around? He would say, your mom wouldn't let me, which what goes on now in society. I'm living proof, and my kids go through it as well. In a situation, most dads tend to either move on and have other babies, and to me I think is more or less like a disrespect when you forget about the two that you brought into this world that need also that mother and father figure. I wish I hadn't been in this situation. That lowered my imaginations of the facts that even though I see the truth of what my father did to me, although I see my child going through it. There were times when my dad said, I'll pick you up and bring you a present, and never showed up. There were times where I sat at the door waiting to see if my dad would stop by and even say hi, just a hi, a simple hi. There were times where he would come around and said, I can't stay long, I'll stay 2 minutes. I said, I waited so long for you, but you never showed up. There were times when my kids themselves would stand by the door and say, do you think he's coming today? Or even call, he wouldn't even answer. So I know by my kids going through it, I went through it myself. It's a pattern that I would say that most parents nowadays go through. It's the truth of why we have so many mothers and dads not in our lives now. There's a lot going on in this world where we blame our parents, our mothers, our dads, for not being there for us. I look for my friends and look for how they were brought up with their moms and dads and say, wow, why couldn't I have parents to live that way? It was a bad structure in my family where my brother played a father's role at times, where I would look for an older brother and say, well, this is my brother. And my daughter, to this day, calls my brother dad, because that was the only father figure that she ever had around her. Not knowing that she had her own dad, but never felt that love of a dad. So I knew where my daughter was going from, where she didn't have that in her. I felt though as that my father did depart from me. I departed from my dad. As I grew older, I knew the truth about what happened between him and my mom, between my mom and my dad. As I got older, I asked questions, which I believe and think that my child, when they get older, they would ask the same questions. Most of the days now, I'm filled with choices and appreciate the joy of the new world that we live in. That there are most parents that can be the mother and the father as one person. But every so often, I remind myself of what he has lost in me. He's lost a person that can be so dedicated, trusting, and faithful to him. It's something that he couldn't do to my mom or my brothers and sisters. I wanted him around to be in the park and lay around with us, and there was times that he wasn't even around to say, I love you, happy birthday, Merry Christmas, or anything. I struggle with this all my life, and for my children, and faithfulness, that I know my father could never be my dad, that the dad that I had was my mom. I'm grateful for having my mom sticking with me, and my sister and my brother. As far as being a good man, as they say, it takes a real man to be a father, and a dad is anyone. Or shall I say, there's a father that can always be a father, and a dad that can be a dad. There's a difference between one or the other. I don't blame my mom for my dad not being around. I believe there's no child looking for a parent, or a parent that should be looking for their dad. I believe that the parent should always be around, no matter if they got along with the mother and the father. As for myself, losing my dad, it was more or less for him not being there for me. And I felt though as, I don't want that for, to happen to my child. I always said, if I was a better mother, but there's no such thing as being a better mother or a better father. It was just being there for my children. And to this day, my kids say to me now, do you think he would be like that to us? I won't want that pattern to be for anyone or for myself. But in the same token, I would like for their dad to be a better man and know that this kid needs the love and not to lose the love of what I went through as a kid. A father figure means a lot to most of us. Most of us don't care, but there's kids out there that look for that love from the parents. With all this being said, my kids intend to always ask, would I ever get another dad? And if I did, can I choose who I want to be my dad? Because I want that love. My son says, I want an army dad. And I said, why an army dad? He says, because they stick with you no matter what. They have no choice but to come back home. So I said, well, you can't pick them, but I can find someone that's capable to fit in that position with you guys and know, can he be a father figure or will he be a father figure? I'm not looking for one to be one for you, but in the same token, you have to know and understand that it's a big process, and another man can get jealous. The original dad, shall I say, can get jealous of that person now fitting into his shoes and say, I'm the dad and you're the father. So keep in mind that when a child loses the love for you and you grow up and that child disrespects you, it's not because it's they lost you. I believe you lost that child. I have a quote, and it says, I don't believe a professional athlete should be a role model. I believe parents should be your role model.